Yeah, I'm just getting everyone in the room. Hello, everyone. Let's just need to get Alex in the room. Cool. Okay. Let me share my screen. There's Alex. Okay, great. We're good to go. Okay. Hello, everyone. So this is something that, as part of the mastermind, we always try and do and improvise if people want extra help in terms of the process. So what we found is that a couple of people have come to me and said to me, look, they really want some help with goals and how to do the goals, etc. And Alex and I have been giving this a lot of thought because I did my coaching course, well, 2 years ago, I think it was. Actually, can't remember if it was 2021 or 2022. It doesn't matter. And Alex is currently going through it. So it's quite interesting because him and I get to like chat and decide, what's working, what's not working, etc. And one of the things, Alex, I'd love you just to kind of start out because I've got a personal story, but I also want to kind of start with yourself. So I've got two questions for you before you get started. Like you're doing this coaching course at the moment, and the whole thing is about helping people get results, and you're being trained by some of the best in the world. It's internationally qualified, certified, or whatever it's called. So my first question is just talk a little bit about that experience and what is the outcome that is you're trying to achieve in terms of helping people get results. That's my first question. My second question is you spoke with a number of the mastermind people, and some of them were finding blockages around getting goals and how to do it and everything else. I'll tell my own personal story after you, but I just wanted to kind of understand from you those two questions because I think they're relevant. So I'm going to stop sharing. So again, just to remind everyone, I'll let people in the room, whatever. But ultimately, this is a session specially created for turning outcomes into goals. So how do you achieve results with monthly measures? And I did this back in late 2022, and I'm going to redo it now in terms of everything I've learned around goals, getting results, and most importantly, how we can help people get results. So yeah, Alex, I'd love to just kind of pivot to you quickly and get your thoughts based on the fact that you're doing some of the latest training at the moment.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Lovely to be here tonight. Yeah, sure. So it's been quite an interesting experience. The last basically 2 years, I've been exposed to it with you, and attending a number of the mastermind sessions, and so it wasn't alien to me. It was kind of I would say familiar, but you used words like stakes and outcomes and measures, and it was always kind of foreign. And as I started diving into the coaching methodology and what coaching is and what coaching is not, started becoming relatable, and it started becoming, quantifiable. It starting to make sense to me. But the more it started making sense to me, the more it got interesting. So Enneagram and how does different personalities, different motivations kind of fit together. So it's been a very interesting experience so far, and I really look forward to the next 2-3 months of finishing it. But I guess to answer your question, it's been an awakening because there's so many things behind goals and outcomes that is actually not said. It's below the iceberg. It's that slide that you like showing. It's not about the results that you get or the behavior that you see. It's all about what is below the iceberg and actually what motivates us to drive us forward. And I think that kind of touches on the topics that we're going to discuss this evening, is about that whole transactional coaching versus transformational coaching. So yeah, that's exactly the side that I was talking to. It's not about the behavior. It's everything that lies beneath that. So been a very nice experience to understand the methodology as well as the ethics that's behind the coaching. Not just writing it down, but actually what's behind that, taking stock, stages, the articulating vision. Again, these are all terms that we have when we discuss it. But ultimately, it's just about the methodology and the format that we use when we have these coaching conversations. So I hope that answers the first question. Just remind me, what was the second question again?
Just in terms of talking with some people, there's been patterns because I know you endeavored to go and talk to everyone individually, and just some patterns that emerged. And again, for us, a mastermind is a journey. And so whenever we realize that there's a gap in the journey or people are lost upon the journey, we improvise to help solve that problem.
Yeah. So, sure. I've spoken to pretty much everyone in the mastermind now once or twice. Some have kind of been 3 times. And one of the key points or the patterns that I've seen is some of us that's in the community want hand holding. They want accountability, weekly accountability, monthly accountability. They want to be in a little WhatsApp group or a group of some sort, so that they can kind of keep themselves accountable and others. Others want to kind of do it all themselves. Call it the five Enneagrams. They just want to do the home study courses and not really be bothered by the noise of people keeping each other accountable. So that was the nuance that I saw. And then for others, there was a very clear resistance against it, and actually being a lot more private and actually just speaking one-to-one directly with me or yourself, and so on and so forth. So that was kind of the patterns that we saw, discussing this directly with the people in the group. But ultimately, it came down to how do we get people more results and more actions and cut out more noise. And yeah, that's kind of the conversations that you and I and Shane and the team have been having over the last couple of months. So yeah, it's kind of all come together now this evening.
Awesome. Okay. So thanks very much, Alex. I appreciate that. And I'm a big believer that kind of stories explain things. So equally for me, 2 things happened. One was I was dating a lady. I'm not dating anymore, but I was dating her. And so I gave her the up, getting clear on the top 3 outcomes. So I did it for her. I did it for Alex. I did it for Shane. And just like with our mastermind members, I did it up front. I wrote everything down. Now with her, I was seeing her every single day. So after a month, I was like, I knew nothing had changed because I knew what we had agreed. I knew what our action items were and everything else, and nothing had changed. So I said to her after a month, right, I think we need to check in. And, because there's often with coaching, the rhythm is either every 2 weeks, or either every week, every 2 weeks, or every month. So I checked in after a month and we had a proper formal meeting, like, as a proper coaching session. And I said to her, what are your top 3 outcomes? And I actually printed out her outcomes. I had them written on, printed on a piece of paper from my iPad. You all know that, I don't have my iPad here, but anyway, you all know that I do my iPad with everyone's outcomes and everything else. And she couldn't even remember what her top 3 outcomes were. And I was like, okay. Do you remember what your top 3 measures were? No. Do you remember what your priorities were? No. And I was like, why do we even do the session again? Because the point being is that in the moment, it's often quite a tough session, but it can also be a bit of a feel-good session. And the point is people are like, oh, I've got that clarity. And just to remind you, before we go any further, Alex alluded to this, and I didn't intend to show these slides, but I'm actually going to, is that you've all seen this before, because I always use this just before I do the one-to-one with you. But I always say, like in the old days when I was younger, I would understand what people's problems were. I'd tell them what to do, but hardly anyone ever did it, because you've got to ask better questions and let them come up with a solution. If they do that, if they come up with a solution or you come up with a solution, you're going to be 5 times more committed than if it's my solution. And what Alex was referring to is that, everyone's here to get results, but it's all the stuff that's happening below the iceberg, the thinking, the values, the assumptions, the bias, the everything in between. And there's 2 states that we all live in. You can either be in a withdrawn state, fearful, inability to make good choices, demotivated, or you can be in a toward state, happy, ability to think clearly, being creative, seeing opportunities. And this is really important because, if you're in this state, which is where 95% of the world live, it's just really difficult to make good choices. It's difficult to enjoy life. It's difficult to go out there and get results. And again, back to my previous girlfriend, like she was in the state, which is exactly why I did this coaching session with her. And for me, there's only 2 ways to be in a toward state. And reminding you, a toward state is happy, ability to think clearly, creative, see new opportunities, etc. And there's 2 ways to do it. One is you get in like-minded people, so you're all part of the mastermind. You're already part of a community, like-minded people going in the right direction. And 2 is that you get very clear on your outcomes. So you use this what we call the lighthouse model. Both Alex and I were trained in this, and it's this top-down, approach, high-quality thinking. You shift the focus to outcome for high-quality thinking. And again, 95% of the world's population are caught up in problem and drama, low quality thinking, and people are just worried about their problems and their drama. And so it's with this kind of framework in mind that I always like to help people. I like to go out, I like to help them get clear on the outcomes, because there's kind of three reasons I'm trying to do it. The first one is that I want them to be able to, so I'm just going to pin myself here quickly if you don't mind. So the first one that I want to do is I want to kind of ask the right questions so that they're coming up with it themselves. So it's their solutions. They want to go towards it. You want to go towards it. I want to go towards it. The second thing is that I'm wanting people to, from a state perspective, to be in that towards state, because not only do you want to be in a like-minded group of people, but you want to be going towards an outcome. And so that's why we do it. And then the gap that we found is that a lot of people are doing this one-to-one. We've also met with a couple of people that are part of the mastermind. And they're like, oh, but I'm not sure if I'm making progress. And I always go back. I always start with, well, what were your outcomes? Have we made progress towards the outcomes? Have we achieved the measures? And I've been quite surprised in the last couple of months when I've kind of chatted with people, like they've actually made really measurable progress towards the outcomes, and yet they weren't aware of them because they weren't tracking them. And so it's kind of like they didn't actually know, and they weren't patting themselves on the back for the progress they were making. So that was the second story. The third story for me was I was sitting with one of our shareholders and one of our mastermind members now, and a lady I've known for a long time, more than a decade. And I was sitting with her, and I was understanding what she was looking to achieve. And I was like, wow, there's so much more that we or I could offer her, we being us, me and Alex and Shane and stuff, but also I, in terms of really helping her get her results here. So long story short, it's also been something that we've been thinking through. Like, we're always thinking to ourselves, how do we help people get more results? So the purpose of this, hopefully that gives a bit of context as to why we're doing this, and in principle, to help people get results. So I put a presentation together. Like I said to you, I did this the last time in November 2022. So it's been a while since I've done it. Goals is something that I've always been fascinated about. If you understand the Enneagram, which hopefully you all do now, what is the one thing that 8s are driven by? Does anyone remember? Chuck it in the chat box. How's it, Patricia? Sorry, I just saw you saying hello there. Anyone want to type in the chat box? What are 8s driven by? Results. Exactly, Ella. They're driven by results. They're driven by goals. They're driven by outcomes. Getting it done is very much a measure. And if there's another number out there that likes to get things done and results and measures, it's a 3. So I'm an 8-3. So you'll probably understand why I've spent most of my life being very, very goal oriented. So I wanted to just share with you some of the lessons that I've learned. Now, let's start with the North Star. Like, why did you join the mastermind? And for me, the focus is globally diversified passive income, something that upon reflecting, what the last 18 months have been like and working a lot with Calio, we've realized that it's globally diversified passive income and it's portfolio growth, because we're obviously looking at things in a holistic way. And if they've optimized portfolio and things are doing well in the stock portfolios as an example, then you're getting you want to have a balance of the diversified passive income and the portfolio growth. So we all know that we're here to diversify across countries, currencies, assets, partners, and time. And this little picture on the right is a simple picture, but I like it because it simplifies how to take a big task or big goal and turn it into actions and ultimately turn it into results. So in simple terms, and I hopefully think it's self-explanatory, you've got your goal and you've got your long-term planning. Then you've got your midterm planning and your sort of sub-goals and your milestones. But then you've got your daily kind of tasks and your habits. So what did I do? So my last 30 years and the mistakes that I made. So I'm a big believer in kind of learning from mistakes. So just my interest, who here has read this book, Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins? I don't even know when it came out. I think the early 90s. Trying to see here when it was published. 1992. So this was one of the first books that I read. I matriculated so I finished school in 1994. And this was one of the first books that I read. And when you read this book, if you go through it, it's got all the exercises all the way through. So if you look here in the pages, it's got all the exercises. Now, the original book I've got's got all my exercises and stuff written in it. I use this one if I do live presentations, and that's why it's written "do not take," because I don't want anyone to steal it. But I don't actually take the one that I wrote with me because it's very valuable to me. I also did goal planning with Roger Hamilton. I did it with Dr. Hunter Strayer and a number of other people. But what I loved with Tony Robbins was he allowed you to dream. And he literally said, like, where do you want to be in the world? You can have anything you want. In his case, there's 7 different areas of life. And he said, right, you can literally have anything you want in the world. What and how? So I went out and I shared this actually just in terms of at the there we are. So no, that's the wrong one to start off with. I shared this when we did what the hell is it called now? The Fireside Chat. But I built this in my 20s. So my logic was, like, I had this book and I wrote all my goals down in this book. It was kind of a bit useless to me because, I didn't have this book around, etc. So what I did is I went out and he talks about the different levels: financial, vocational, mental, family, social and travel, physical and health, and spiritual contribution. And I literally
Scott,
went.
I'm not sure if you're sharing, but we're not sharing. Right. You're not seeing it at the moment.
Thanks for the update. Thanks, Alex. That's the one problem when you do a challenge in the morning and then you have meetings in the afternoon and then you do another presentation in the evening. It's yeah. Anyway, so let's just go through it. So you didn't miss anything. Actually, we're right at the beginning. So you got financial, you got vocational, you got mental, you got family, you got social and travel, you got physical and health, and you got spiritual and contributional. So these are all sort of make sense easily. Some people don't know what vocational means. It's like, what do you love doing, with your life? Like, how can you add value? What's your career? That sort of thing. Mental is obviously your mindset and your brain. So I went through this and I literally built this. I think I built it in my late 20s. I can't remember exactly. And I went through and I put all the things that I wanted down. Literally, and I even broke them down into different businesses. And over the years, I've obviously updated it. And then I went through to, all the different years, right through to when I was 60. Because obviously, when you're in your 20s, when you turn 60, you're basically dead. So life is, it's over when you're 60. And I'm joking because I'm much closer to 60 now. What I'm saying is, when you're in your 20s, like, you think you've got until ever. So I've only done it until 2037. Clearly, now that I'm 47, somewhere like in column Q, I need to extrapolate this out to the right. But in simple terms, I went through it and I had lots of things. And if I achieved stuff, let's just use the very first one. I wanted to own an SRK. I did that, so I put it in blue. If it was red, it was something really important to me and it's ongoing. If it was orange, yellow, it was important to me and something I was doing but needed to keep doing. And if it's white, I hadn't done it. I want to buy an island. I haven't done that, as an example. So you kind of got all the stuff, and you can see the level of detail. Vocational, exactly the same thing. In terms of breaking it down. Mental, and some of these are like live life with no regrets. That's just an ongoing thing. You can see there's a bunch of ongoing things. Family, a lot of stuff I want to do with my family. Social and travel, a lot of stuff I wanted to do. In terms of what I wanted to do. Physical and health, and then finally spiritual and contribution. Okay, so and then every year, once a year, I'd take a day out and I'd go through all of this and I'd go remind myself of all the things I said I wanted to do. It's actually quite empowering. You'd be surprised how many things you actually do, even subconsciously, just by doing this once a year. I then went and I would create my SMART goals for the year. So basically I would have my daily schedule, my weekly schedule, my monthly schedule. I track everything. I'd have a weekly plan in terms of how I was going to plan my life. And then I'd literally go each one of those things again. Financial, like what do I want to achieve financially? I'd build out an entire budget. I would have budgets to actuals. So I'd run my entire thing, budgets to actuals. Then I'd have vocational, mental, family, social and travel. I think you get the point. And it's broken up into what I'll do in January and then per quarter, per quarter, per quarter. And then finally, if that wasn't enough detail, I then went into my, where's it gone now? Well, into what I called my 49-day goals. So it was breaking it down to every 49 days. And again, I built it into a wheel so that I could see it. This was when I was, you could see like what my past session was. You could see how balanced my wheel of life was. So I could track like last session to this session. I could take like what my top goals were that I was focusing on. So I generally have like sort of 10 to 15 goals that I would write out, and then the same thing, daily, etc., etc., etc. Now, just as a matter of interest, if you thought I was crazy, now you've finally understood that I am crazy. And I did a whole bunch of other stuff, which I'll talk about just now. But that's the level of detail that I was going with goal planning. And the question I ask you is, do you think it worked? Patricia said, I don't know how you did that. There wouldn't be time for anything else. Yep. Look, the only benefit, Patricia, was one of my favorite days was in early January. I'd go out on the boat and I did all this on the boat. And it was one of my favorite days. You sit on the boat and you get clear on you look at your long-term goals and you kind of design your year and what you want and everything else. So the best part was the boat part. Paula said no. Ella said, work for you. I'm guessing I would need a PA or an app for that. It's an ongoing thing. Absolutely. I don't think so too much, Andre. So I think, Andre, you probably summed it up right. So look, it works and it didn't work. Okay. There's a lot that I achieved, and there's a lot that I didn't achieve. And it brings me on to the next thing on the slide, which is something I only learned probably in the last, am I showing my slides? No. Something I only learned in the last couple of years. So in sales, I learned this a long time ago. I learned this at least 10 years ago. So it's called the rule of three. And it's quite interesting because psychologically, the human brain thinks in threes. So I don't know if you do it or know this. So if you're trying to sell someone something and they've only got one option, then they feel trapped. If you give them two options, then like sometimes it can be confusing. It's either or. And so what is scientifically proven is that three options is the right number, because once it goes to four, the mind gets confused and then it goes into overwhelm. So, and I've got some research here. I'm going to share these articles with you, just to show you what I was talking about here. So this is the rule of three explained. And I found a great article by this guy who goes into the whole thing. And you can take any large, overwhelming things and chunk it into three smaller things to help you communicate better, organize your mind better, remember better, prioritize better, and take better action. Yeah, the rule of three is that good. He then goes on to talk about three is the magic number. I can't help but say three is the magic number, as a friend of mine used to sing this all the time. When I explain parts of my book, Getting Results, the Agile Way, to my friends, they seem to really latch on to the rule of three. Three is an interesting number. Marketing uses it to make things memorable. Stories and storytellers use it. Every time a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, or three acts, a title, the three little pigs, the three blind mice, stick in your mind. The military use the rule of three to teach survival. 3 minutes without air, 3 minutes without water, 3 minutes without food, 3 months without hope. It's the magic number. What is the rule of three? And in quite simple, it's all about the fact that the brain can remember it. Why is it so effective? It's clear, it's insightful, and it's actionable. So I'll share this article with you. I'm not going to sit here and regurgitate it all to you, but you can literally talk about it. And I actually really enjoyed this article. So look here, 3 wins, 3 outcomes, 3 achievements, 3 highlights. So really, really interesting for what I'm about to share with you. And then you can literally see like how you can see the forest for the trees, how you can focus on your outcomes over activities, your yearly goals, outcomes or simply visions, how you can turn it into today. So I think this article is very, very valuable. And even how you can practice your daily things. Start your day with the rule of three. So what are the 3 things you can do today? Test yourself, improve your estimates, feel good about your results, productivity tool, etc. So I really, really enjoyed this article, and I'll share it with the mastermind group. And then equally, I went and asked ChatGPT, my all-knowing friend, and it had a similar thing: writing and storytelling, public speaking, marketing, mathematics and science, and comedy. And it goes on to is the principle that suggests things grouped in 3s are more satisfying, effective, or memorable than any other numbers or of groupings. It is used across various fields, including writing, public speaking, mathematics, and marketing. And then it goes into it. So just my interest, before I go any further, does the rule of 3 make sense to you from what I've shared? I mean, it's quite simple. If you look back over my 30 years, and that was a fluke, 30 and 3, by the way. But if I look back over my last 30 years of doing goals, it's just too overwhelming. Like if you said to me now, if you literally put a gun to my head and said, Scott, like, tell me the top 3 things from those 7 different areas, I'd be like, I have no idea. It takes half a day. I've got to go on the boat. I'm going to go on the boat and spend the day on the boat and read through all of them, etc. Whereas if it's 3, you can remember it. If it's 3, you can focus on it. If it's 3, you can make it a reality. And so this was probably one of my biggest learning lessons. And I can see everyone else is starting to. So, and Hella says, yep, I use it, including interior design. So this is one of my biggest learning lessons. Like, rather than trying to do 30 things or 300 things, or even in my case, probably 3,000 things, I started just going, no, 3. And if you notice closely with those goals, I still do my long-term goals, what I call my Tony Robbins exercise, once a year, because I think it's really important to, like, what were the things I've always dreamed of? You know, what are the things that, I wanted to climb Kilimanjaro, done it. Wanted to run with the bulls, done it. Things like that. Because it's important to remind yourself of those things. But in terms of like those annual goals and like those quarterly goals and those 49-day goals, like I've scrapped all of that. Okay, because now I get very clear on the rule of 3. And someone said there, Werner said the magnificent 3. So that for me is the first big learning lesson. And you might notice that everything I do post this is 3s. So the next thing I wanted to share with you is something that Alex actually reminded me of. Sorry, I just need to get my power cable here. 2 seconds. My son came to say goodnight, and I think he kicked out my power cable. Anyway, so again, are you seeing my screen here? No, you're not. So the next thing that Alex reminded me of, and actually it was my mother as well, is there's a difference between transactional coaching and transformational coaching. And again, I thought about this because, it's quite important. So I went along and I actually looked again at, where's it gone now? Yep, here we are. So again, ChatGPT, what is the difference between transactional coaching versus transformational coaching? So transactional coaching is about focus. The transaction coaching is primarily task-orientated and focuses on achieving specific goals or outcomes. The approach, this type of coaching involves clear, structured interactions where the coach provides guidance, feedback, and direction to help the coachee meet predetermined objectives. The duration, usually short-term, addressing immediate needs and challenges. The methodology often involves performance assessment, setting clear goals, monitoring progress, and providing corrective feedback. The relationship between the coach and the coachee is more hierarchical, with the coach playing an authoritative role. Examples: performance coaching to meet sales targets, skill development, improving specific competencies. Transformational coaching. Transformational coaching is person-centered and focuses on deep personal growth, self-awareness, and long-term development. The approach, this type of coaching involves exploring underlying beliefs, values, and motivations, aiming to bring about profound change in the coachee's perspective and behaviors. Duration, usually long-term, focuses on sustained personal and professional growth, Methodology involves reflective practices, deep questioning, exploring personal narratives, and fostering self-discovery. The relationship between coach and coachee is more egalitarian and collaborative, with the coach serving as a facilitator and guide. And examples: life coaching to help individuals find their purpose, leadership coaching to develop visionary leaders, or coaching for personal empowerment and holistic well-being. And then the key differences: goal orientation. Transactional coaching is goal-specific and outcome-driven, while transformational coaching is growth-orientated and process-driven. Time: transactional coaching is short-term, addressing immediate needs. Transformational coaching is long-term, focusing on ongoing development. Interaction style: transactional coaching involves direct guidance and feedback. Transformational involves reflective dialogue and exploration. And nature of change: transactional coaching targets specific behaviors and skills. Transformational coaching aims to be deeper, more sustainable, and changes in mindset and identity. So that's what ChatGPT has to say. I did find a slide just to show it. So again, because again, lots of information, so I like to condense what we just heard. So if you take transactional, which is the first column, and then transformational, the time frame: shorter, long-term. Coaching focus: increased performance, increasing personal growth. Where our change happens: in behavior, in client value, and attitude. Coaching goal: achieving the goal, identifying goals for life. Reward: achievement, self-esteem, and fulfillment. The frame: results orientated, person orientated, and level: more superficial level, deeper level. So I just wanted to share with you, because when we started the mastermind, and the process that we were going through was very much at a group coaching level, and with the idea from a transactional coaching perspective and accountability perspective to help people get results. So let's look at what I'm talking about. If we use the same framework and we use the goals at the top. So I sit with each and every one of you. I've already used this tonight, and I've shown you that we start with the outcome. So we're not interested in the problems and the drama. We get very clear on your top 3 outcomes and your top 3 measures. And so you've got your goal. I've now subsequently changed that M to a P because I made it a picture. But anyway, it's a metaphor, a picture. So it's what your picture is and what your top 3 measure is. And if you've done it right and you go to the mastermind sheet, each one of us, including myself, and I'll just use myself to keep it simple, is if I just use myself, you've got your goal, you got your measure, you got your goal, you got your measure, you got your goal, and you got your measure in terms of that process. So that's the first thing that was very important to get clear on the outcomes. The second thing was the midterm and ultimately the checking in. And again, I learned this from Roger Hamilton. I was part of Roger Hamilton's mastermind for 11 years, and it was highly successful, not only for me, but for many other people that were part of it. And so what we've got is we've got the monthly check-in. And so each month we're checking in with what were the priorities that we said we were going to do, and then having a robot system of self-accountability where green is done, orange is in progress, and red is not started. And then what are the highlights for the month and what are the challenges? And if you've got any submissions or questions, you can put them in. Now, I found this incredibly valuable. And again, if I go back here, when I was using Roger Hamilton, just by the way, I was paying $25,000 a year for Roger Hamilton. So 5 times what people are paying to be part of the mastermind. But if I went through any of my things, I can immediately see like where I'm at. Am I making progress? Yes or no? Where am I at with the things I said I would do? Robot system. And I found it incredibly valuable. It only takes me 10 or 15 minutes a month to sit down and go, am I on track? Am I off track? Am I doing what I said I would do? What were the highlights? What were the challenges? And, I've had months, quite a few months actually, where I sit there and I go, what were my highlights? Christ, as I've been busy. But I don't know what the highlights were. Like I've had months, and I bet you I'm not the only one, where I've gone back and I've gone like, what the hell did I do last month? Like challenges, I've never had a problem. There's always lots of challenges. But like the highlights, I'm like, yes, what did I and sometimes I've got to go back and look at my calendar and like actually go like, geez, what did I do this month? And so it's an awesome review. And an idea that, we've got the group accountability sessions. We've also said the hot seats available if people want help. There's 3 different sessions in a day. You know, the early morning session, again, I'm talking my time zone, but obviously whatever time zones for people. There's the early morning session, there's the hour after the financial session, and there's the evening kind of fireside chat session. And my logic is you don't have to come to all 3, obviously, but I've made myself available. Alex is there. Now with him being fully trained, we can even do breakaways, Zoom rooms, etc. You know, help people. And there's a huge amount of value and power in doing a hot seat with others. And actually, Alex, you were talking about the stakes model. I mean, here it is. So you set up the conversation for success. You take stock, you explore exactly what's happening. You articulate the vision, clear and detailed description of the preferred reality. You keep exploring, so splitting the net beyond the usual suspects. You energize action, using energy from insight to commit to action. And then you have a strong completion. So closing the conversation powerfully. And this whole little exercise, we've both been trained, should last about 20 minutes. So that's why a good hot seat, you can literally jump in a hot seat, you can solve it. So in my opinion, there's plenty of time to do this. But, you know, to date, I think we've maybe done in 18 months, I'd be exaggerating if I said 3 hot seats. So we've kind of sat and gone, well, I'm not sure why it's not being used. I'm not sure if it's not understood, but it's not being used. And so another idea Alex had was, well, let's show the accountability. Let's actually show, you know, who's filling in the accountability sheet, who's attending the knowledge, you know, exercise, or at least watching the recording. Because again, I think it's very valuable when people come and they say, well, this is working or it's not working. It's like, cool, well, the horse is coming to the water, but is it drinking, you know, as an example. And we always said a lot of people join this mastermind to be held accountable. And, you know, my job and Alex's job is either the carrot or the stick. Some people prefer the carrot, some people prefer the stick. Call it putting the feet to the fire. You know, I don't actually care. Like, you join because you want to get results, and we, you know, we deeply passionate about getting people results. And so that, you know, for me is what we built on an ongoing consistency perspective to help people check in on a monthly basis. And then finally, the last bit is the daily activities. And this I've proposed to each and every one of you. And I don't know how many people are using it or not using it. And ultimately, it's your daily activities that are going to lead to your habits. And there's 2 things here that are critically important. The first is this challenge. And so I got quite lost. If you have or haven't heard from me, you know, breaking up with that girl that I very, very much liked. I lost focus on where my North Star was, or my top of my mountain. And I was kind of coasting a little bit, etc. And so everything I'm telling you to do, I did myself. I also went and got myself a coach that is trained in the same methodology as me and Alex. And I went through this exact process for myself. It's so interesting. You know, you're helping lots of other people, but sometimes you need that external perspective for yourself. And so everything I'm about to show you, or I am showing you, I've literally done myself in the last couple of months as well. And just going back to the 60-day challenge, you know, I did this for 4.5 years from 2016, every single day for 7 days, 7 days a week for 4.5 years. And it's so interesting because this exercise literally takes you through a breathing exercise. Every morning, you know, if you've done anything on your physiology, you'll know that breathing is one of the most important things you can do. So it's a breathing exercise. Then it's a gratitude exercise. If you're grateful, you can't be sad, you can't be angry. So it's a wonderful way to start the day. Like, what are you grateful for? The third thing is an energy exercise, or if you're spiritual or religious, and it's imagining, you know, healing and energy coming through your body. Extremely powerful, not only for yourself, but then giving it to others. And these are all little short things. They only last like 2-3 minutes, but it's what I do every single day, and it's all guided. And then you get to your 3 goals. And if you had asked me 2 months ago, Scott, what are your 3 goals? I would have gone, let me show you all my spreadsheets and let me, you know, whatever. And you put a gun to my head, okay, dude, I said 3. I'd be like, blah, 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 blah. You ever heard like a goldfish, like playing bubbles? I would have been the bubble blower. And so, you know, even to me, if you go look at my outcomes, they were there. So I was exactly the same as you. If I went to my outcomes last year, they were there. I know what this was. I can remember what these 3 were, but I had no idea what these measures were. They were just stuff I'd written down. I'd done, as usual, done a hell of a lot of work, but I wasn't coming back to them in a repeating way to remember them. And And now I've been doing it, and we started the latest 60-day exercise, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. And I've done it every single day, Saturday, Sunday, haven't missed a single day. Because when I make a commitment, it's basically a fact. And it's been amazing. Like, I can tell you exactly what my top 3 goals are. I can tell you what my top 3 measures are, and I'm going to share with you some of the extra work that I did with it. Now, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I want to be very clear. I'm not being arrogant. I'm actually trying to show you the personal journey I went through, even being lost, and what I did to get back on track, get clear on my goals, get back into the driver's seat. And I haven't felt this good in a very long time. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to share this with people, so that they too could use this and I could help you achieve your objectives. And the second thing that I find comes up all the time is that people say to me, "Oh, Scott, I don't have the time." You know what? An 18-minute exercise in the morning? Are you crazy? Do you know how busy I am, Scott? I have to wake up in the morning, and I have to get the children ready for school, and I have to get myself ready, and then I have to drive them to school, and I have to drop them off, and then I've got to go to gym. Maybe I can fit in some exercise. Then I've got to rush to go and get on my tractor to go and farm the fields. we got some farmers, so I got to chuck that in somehow. I don't know how you do schooling and children, but anyway, I'm making it up. But I mean, we all got 100 excuses, and I'm so busy. And then I get home, and I'm just too tired. But I've still got lots more work to do and whatever. So Scott, just don't talk to me about personal development and stuff. It's just not possible. And you know what's interesting is that, again, there's lots of books out there, but whenever you guys ask me for help, I always refer you to the one thing. And I always say, go and design your perfect week, and go and read this little book. And I didn't have it open, so if you don't mind, just bear with me. I'm going to open it up again. And this is not a time management. Just by the way, if you want time management, I did actually do one on time management, which I don't think I need to do again yet. And I'll show you where to get that quickly. Sorry, I'm just trying to find, why is this thing not opening up the one thing? So this is the little book. I've shared this with you lots of times, but look, there's an audio book, and you can literally read through it, or sorry, you can listen to it on Audible. But this little summary, I mean, there's a great book. You can read the whole book, and it's got all the stories. But this summary is 10 pages. So again, any one of us, if we want to achieve anything in our lives. Now, I've been talking about the rule of 3. He gets even more direct and says the one thing. And the point being is that it's probably the best book I've found in terms of time management. It's 10 pages. So I mean, you can literally print this out tonight and read it if you want. And the principle that I took away from this is design your perfect week. So I've given you all the templates, and if you don't have any of these things, just type in the chat box, or I don't know, ask on the mastermind group if you need help. But you can see here what I've done. Like, I basically designed my week. Again, I don't know how much detail you want me to go into, but if you know Roger Hamilton and some of the Eastern philosophies, there's actually a rhythm you should work in your week. So I don't know if you want me to go into this. I can if you're interested. But you've got so my Monday is about management and strategy. My Tuesday is about fire and calls. So you can actually see here you've got metal and wood, fire, earth, fire and water. So there's a rhythm to how to set up a perfect week. But you can see I've got my management and strategy. It's basically team. I've got calls. I've got service and management. I've got meeting day, and then I've got water, which is all about creating. And if you go down to my key on the right here, you can see like mine power hour. So when I say I'm doing gym or exercise or running or whatever, and doing my prime or my meditation, whatever, it's sort of scheduled in there. We've got, you can see team meetings that are in there. You can see ongoing meetings that happen. You can see when I'm focusing on building the business and revenue. Something that I'm not shameful about at all is I play paddle on a Tuesday morning. You can't get hold of me until 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. Paddle's that game you play with a bat. And on a Thursday, I ride my mountain bike. And kind of people some say to me, oh, but you only start at 10 or 11 on a Tuesday or Thursday. Well, yes, because I also work in the evenings. Like tonight's a Tuesday, I'm presenting. Tomorrow night, we've got a shareholder update, I'm presenting. And then what I did, which was very important, is put in family time. So I've just spent 2 hours with my son. What night are we on Tuesday? I've just spent 2 hours with my son, making sure I had family time, a little bit of a jacuzzi session with him, helped him with his homework, watched a bit of TV, had dinner, we do gratitude every night around the dinner table. Again, it's got nothing necessarily to do with goals, but I suppose it does in many ways. And then on a Friday is the day I try to have no meetings and create it. Now, why am I showing you this stuff? If you want to get those long-term outcomes and you want to have your monthly milestones, you've got to set up your perfect week. And if I was to say to you, do you think I've ever run a perfect week? Do you honestly believe that I've ever had a week that went perfect? And the truth is no. I don't think I've ever had a week. In fact, I'm not very good with boundaries, which is one of the things I'm really looking to improve upon. So when I say no meetings Friday, and I mean, some Fridays, it's been ridiculous. I've had 6 or 7 meetings. It's like, well, yes, that went really well, Scott. So one of the things that I'm getting much better at is holding my boundary and setting these weeks up to be more successful. And as an example with my team, we only do team stuff on a Monday and a Thursday. And even if there's some big drama, because everyone thinks it's a big drama in their life on the day, I'm like, cool, I'm sure it can wait till Monday or Thursday. It's amazing how it's timid down by Monday or Thursday, which just allows me to get on and actually keep building the business, or adding value or doing whatever I should be doing on that day. So just before I move any further, is this making sense? Because can you see that if I go back, because if I go forward one more slide, it's going to go to that. So I want to go to this. Can you see that each one of at a mastermind level, each one of these has been covered? And I want to go back quickly. So if you go at the top, we're doing the outcomes. If we go in the middle, we've got the tools that we've created on a monthly basis to help people achieve their milestones to get there. And then in the daily activities, I can't hold your hand and phone you every morning and say, hey, did you do your daily activities? But I have given you the 2 things that work most for me, which is this, the 60-day challenge to create the habit and this. And just in terms of group accountability, something else that is part of the 60-day challenge, but I'm just sort of showing you how it all works, is that we've got a WhatsApp group. And it's actually really powerful if you go into the WhatsApp group, because the people that have committed every single day just kind of go into it, and all they do is they put in done. And we don't want any pictures, don't want any motivational quotes. All that we say is, if you've got a pretty picture, put it in, just because it just, I don't know, brightens all of our days. So if you've got a picture, put a pretty picture of a sunset or something, but basically a done and done. It's hell of a motivating to see everyone else that's done stuff. This self-accountability is amazing. If you take, I'm part of another challenge at the moment, which is the Olympic challenge, where you do 100 push-ups a day, 100 sit-ups, and 100 squats. And again, it's just done. So again, accountability, super, super important in terms of that process. So I'm going to stop sharing quickly. And I wanted to share with you the way we built the mastermind, how we've actually wanted at every level to cover what I'm going to refer to as transactional coaching, to help people get results by helping them get clear on the outcome in a one-to-one way, then to have the group coaching on a monthly basis with the accountability. And we've really struggled to get people to do it. That's been one of our biggest bugbears, is to get people to actually do it on a monthly basis. And then you've got the daily habits and the daily weekly schedule to help set yourself up for success. So before I go any further, because I've got more to share, but does it make sense what I've shared so far? And actually, again, power of 3. Are you noticing how everything's in 3s? Outcome, monthly, daily. Like I've very consciously in the last, and I don't know exactly, I want to say 3 years, but I'd be lying. It might be 3 to 5 years. But in the last, let's say 5 years, I've taken a lot of complexity and I always try and bring it down to 3s to really simplify. So that there's 3 simple steps. There's 3 ways to do things. There's 3 things to focus on. There's only ever 3 outcomes. There's only ever 3 measures, because then you can actually remember it and do it. So I just want to see here quickly. Okay, so Derek said it's not understood until you pay attention when you get stuck in. Discipline is key. How do we join this? Can you share the one thing summary, please? So what I'll do for the mastermind in general, everything that I've spoken about tonight, including even the PowerPoint, I'm going to put into the WhatsApp group. And by the way, because you're all part of Private Wealth Global now as well, also will put it into the new learning environment for you. Patricia, when you said, how do I join this? You are part of the mastermind. So anyone that's part of the mastermind, you should have already done your one-to-one with me. To my knowledge, every single person has done their one-to-one, except for one gentleman who I'm doing it with next week. The monthly, is a self-accountability where we check in every single month. And the daily, if you're talking about the 60-day challenge as an example, Patricia, I'll put everything again in the mastermind group so that everyone's got it. So all the resources are in one place for people. But I do remind everyone, just again, we created this onboarding document, which everyone should have. So when you sign up, all the things that to do with the mastermind are here. The process and how it works is here, although, as you know, we're updating this now with the work that we're doing with Calio. The 60-day challenge is here, so you can download it. It's all here. Again, I'll share this with you, Wealth Going Global and Asset Mastery. There's a whole bunch of materials here if you're interested, the Wealth Hacker materials. And then useful webinars. So I mentioned time management. There it is there, time management. And by the way, when I've done this goal one, I'll stick goals in here as well. Mental wealth. This was done by a high-performance coach that's also a psychiatrist with an MBA, flow, etc. So there's stuff there. And then finally, you've got the team support. So just remember, this document always has everything in it to make life simple for you. So let me just stop sharing quickly. I just want to make sure that at a transactional level, the 60-day thing. So Patricia, I have shared it with you, and I'll also put it again. There's actually a document called the 60-day thing. So if you go here quickly, Wealth University 2024 60-day challenge. So I'll share this with you, Patricia, and everyone else. So it just shows you can download the file, you can join the WhatsApp group, what I recommend each day, things to enhance it. So pretty much what we're going through now, vision boards, goal planning, etc., what you can do, printing stuff. And then, your extra bonuses, I don't know, some extra stuff if you want to. I'm doing a health thing. I'm not doing no alcohol, but I am doing healthy, and, etc. And then this is something, I don't know, it offends some people. I've got this poster printed, laminated, and I've got 4 of them all around my house because I just love it. When you're truly at peace and in touch with yourself and nothing anybody says or does bothers you and no negativity or drama can touch you. I just love it. And I get into trouble every time my family comes to my house because they tell me I've got swear words in my house, and I fundamentally disagree. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing because I want to share something that has been quite exciting for me in terms of the transformational coaching. Okay, boom, 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 boom. You guys are such good role models. Keep going. Yeah, look, I think, if you remember, it reminds me, Werner, of what that video that I like to play about a mastermind. And it says something along the lines of, if you get in with a group of like-minded people and you've got a leader that is prepared to jump in the trenches with you, then you're going to achieve really fast results. He says something like that, not word for word, but you get myself. And my logic is, I can't tell people to do other things if I'm not prepared to do it myself. I've lost 6 kilos. I don't know if you have or haven't noticed in the last 2 months. And the point being is that it's closer to 7 now. And the point is it's all part of this health thing. Alex is on a 3-day fast as we speak. Everything I'm telling you, I'm doing myself. Every single thing. Okay, but now I want to go to the next level, because one of the things that I've really been exploring is, okay, cool. So everything that we're doing at the mastermind level is this. But as Alex said, he spoke to people and it was like some of it's working, some of it's not. I also realized with my previous girlfriend, plus I realized with one of the clients. So I want to kind of keep going, if you don't mind, because we then said to ourselves, okay, cool. So if you were part of the session last 2 weeks ago, the July session, the mastermind session, you will know that we all upgraded you from effectively 5K, where we were all focusing on at least getting to 5K passive income and portfolio growth, to what we're calling the 6K club now. So everyone's automatically been upgraded for free. You don't have to do anything, and everything you've been getting already, you're continuing to get, and you're going to get more. And our whole idea was that we realized that there's different people at different that need different things. And we wanted to add between ourselves and the Calio consulting team, because obviously Enneagram and Wealth is something that's new and it only came on in the last 3 months. And even with the Calio consulting team and with David Lipschitz on the generational wealth side and everything in between. So we basically created the 6K club, the 12K club, and the 24K club. Again, to remind you, it's the 6K club is all about the retail to sophisticated investors. It's mastering your portfolio, which is what you're all doing. We're all aspiring to be, and achieve for global diversification, which is the high net worth investor to the global investor. And then finally, the 24K club is all around the generational wealth and ensuring a legacy. So the whole mindset. But just with regards to the coaching side, something that I've realized is that the group coaching works for some people and they're getting results, and for others, they're not showing up, they're not being accountable. And so again, for me, I'm not saying you have to do anything because you're already part of the mastermind, so I just want to be clear. But for those that want more, and again, what I've experienced personally even the last couple of months was the whole transformational coaching and accountability. So to use the same thought with regards to this, I wanted to share with you some stuff that I've found that really, really takes this to another level. So I want to see, as a matter of interest in the chat, has anyone here ever written a future vision? So I learned this originally from Roger Hamilton. And has anyone here ever written a future vision? So Archie has. Anyone else? No? Derek has? Okay, great. So I learned this originally from Roger Hamilton, like I said, and I've also been doing this close on 10 years, I would say. And this is one of the, Paul has also done it. Wow, lots of people have. That's awesome. So it's one of the things that and when I'm finished, I'll let people share if they want to, the power of this with other people. But one of the things I love about a future vision is where you literally take your life, and maybe it's a year out. So, what are we now? We're at the end of July. And so you go, it's the 31st of July, 2025. And you look back on your life. And it's using all the principles that I actually just spoke about. So you literally talk in the present tense, like, I've achieved this, and I'm so grateful. So it's a lot of gratitude. I'm so grateful that I've achieved this. And then you kind of talk about how you did it. Okay. And it's literally like creating your future life. By the way, Alex, have I shared this with you even before? I can't remember the future vision. And so It's an exercise. It's a story. Okay. It might be a 1-page story. It might be a 2-page story. It might even be a 3, 4, 5-page story. So I've done this every single year. And I actually find my future vision more powerful than all of that goal stuff and all those spreadsheets I said, because what it does is it brings gratitude and emotion in. And I've done a future vision per year, and then I just found one here. I'm not saying this is my latest one. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying this. I just picked up one and screenshot. By the way, my little nickname for myself is Scott 5.0. In terms of how things go from 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Anyway, I'm in version 5 of myself, and bit of humor for myself. And anyway, and this story becomes so powerful. So the idea is you do it once a year, and you look back, and then at the end of the year you read your story. Now, one of the things Roger recommends is you should share this with those that you love. You should share it, even if it's in business. You should share it with your teammates. And this is vulnerable. I mean, because you're like, hey, this is important to me or whatever. And the bottom line is people can literally see your truth. So what I do with my team, the only thing I tend to take out of my team is how much I want to earn for the year, because that doesn't always work so well. But anyway, and like literally just share it in terms of the process. So this is the future vision. By the way, I also do a 10-year future vision. So I've done, when I was 40, I did one for when I was 50. And one of the things that irritated me was that, sometimes when I read my future vision, it feels like I'm reading Jeff Bezos's book. It's like the story is so far from reality, it pisses me off, which is why I've really over the years enhanced the rule of 3. And rather than figuring out, like, it's important to know where you want to be at the end of the year and 3 years and 10 years from now. But what's really important is also what you can achieve in the next quarter. So to make sure that you're making measurable progress, and that's where the rule of 3 comes in. So that's the first thing that I believe from a transformational perspective completely shifts the energy. The second thing that I wanted to share with you is your values. So I'm not sure how many people have actually sat down and done their values work, like really taken the time, like what are your core values? What do you stand for? Why are you here on this planet? What is for you negotiable and what is for you non-negotiable? Because this also helps you make better decisions about your life and where you're going. And just by the way, I'd love to know if this stuff's valuable or if Scott's just in his own little ranting and raving perspective. So again, these are tasks that you don't even have to do this every year. Yes, you should review them. Yes, you should read them every now and again. You should ideally have them printed on a wall in terms of your process. But, you know, the bottom line is, I mean, if you want to know who Scott Picken is, these are the values that I want to aspire to and work with. And Alex, I mean, as an example, I'll only work with people I like and respect. You know, at the end of the day, you know, the backdrop I've come from with the internal fighting and whatever. And, you know, these things, sometimes I need to remind myself of these things as well. And then the last thing that I wanted to share with you, and then this is where, you know, now you thought I was cuckoo, now you're going to know that I really was cuckoo. So I meant to bring this here and I haven't. So this is an exercise that I did in COVID. And I think this is an exercise that you only really have to do once properly in your life. But it's called creating a life book. And I found this on, I've got the right way around, no. I found this on Mind Valley. And I actually did this in 2020 during COVID. And what it is it's the 12 areas of your life. And so if I share with you here, I'm sharing my screen on it. So I go to my goals. So I go to 2020, I go to my goals, and I go to my life book. And you can basically go in. So you can now see it all together. So I've got 2 copies of my life book. And you can basically see everything. You can see my future vision. So I just told you I have a future vision through to 2027. And you can see my future vision, what am I doing, etc. And the nice thing is you've got all these kind of quotes and everything you enjoy. Then I've got all the different areas of my life. So I've got health, intellectual life, emotional life, character, spiritual, love relationships, parenting, social, financial, career, quality of life. And then, as I said, the future vision. So let's just take one of them. Let's just take health, for example. So it's written like a book. So you basically got all these quotes that you like. It's like, who do you want to be in terms of your health, your vision for your health, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everything about your health, your purpose, your starting point, your plan. And what I've realized is that this is far more important to me than like those spreadsheets that I showed you. Because this is a story and it's got all the quotes that I love and things that are important to me and everything else all the way through. So like I said to you, I printed this all out. Pictures of me when I was younger, sort of reminding myself what I looked like when I was healthy and before I learned what Castle Light was. I actually don't know why that picture's in there. That's Bongi, who we helped go through a private school. So I think he should be not in my health, but in social. But anyway, it's one of those things. But I mean, you can go through any one of them. You know, I'm not in a relationship now. And maybe the reason is because when I give ladies this book, they shit themselves. But the point being is that I'm very clear on what I want, you know, in a relationship. And ideally for me, you know, you would find someone that would take this and we would co-create an amazing relationship together. But it's about being very clear on kind of what you want. You've thought through your life, the different areas of your life, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, this is the transformational part, because I actually believe that, you know, if you're really wanting to build an extraordinary life, this is the type of stuff that you need to do. And by the way, you can do this. It was actually a course I did on Mind Valley that literally took me through it in a guided way. It's quite a lot of work, as you can see. But, you know, now that it's there, I mean, if anyone wants to know anything about me, go and read this book. And it's got the 12 areas of my life in a story, what I want, how I want it, etc. So yeah, that's, by the way, I asked people if they'd done the future vision. Has anyone done their life book? So Archie's done their life book as well. Yes, it's John and Missy, 100%. So that's from Mind Valley. That's where I did it. So me and 2 friends did it during COVID. Again, always good to have accountability partners. Both myself and my friend have printed our books. He's done even better than me. His is in hardcover. Like his book literally looks like a book on his shelf, which is pretty awesome in terms of this process. But can you see, if I take a couple of steps back, can you see that long-term planning, like, and visualizing like really what's important in your life, now this is at a different level, like from a transformational perspective. And I just want to share you 3 things that I've done. Then at a midterm level, so again, we've spoken about this hot seat and the fact that we actually do this hot seat, we offer this hot seat, but no one seems to be using it in the group coaching sessions. But I wanted to share with you. So I went and I said, how are we doing for time? Okay, don't worry, I'm nearly done. And I went and I said, okay, cool. So I sat with my coach, okay, and I literally sat with her, and she kind of helped me do exactly what I do with you. So she helped me kind of create my top 3 outcomes and my top 3 measures. Just by the way, I don't know if she's better or worse than me. I'm not saying she's better or worse than me, but like when I said to her, hey, can you send me your notes? Because I was kind of hoping that she would do what I do, which is where I send you my iPad with all my notes and everything's written down and whatever. She was like, no, your job's to take your own notes. I was like, oh shit. So I couldn't remember half the stuff that I'd actually said. Anyway, so for those of you that I send you all of you, I send you your PDF and your recordings. I sort of said to her, you should be doing that as well. Anyway, sorry, that's a bit of humor for me. Anyway, I went and found this system called Xtiles, because what I realized was that all these spreadsheets, if I send you guys all these spreadsheets, and Archie, I know you love your personal development, so let's just say I hypothetically send you this spreadsheet. Okay, I would have to take like a month just to teach you how to use the spreadsheet. And the thing I've learned in my life, there's no point in me having all these complicated tools that no one knows how to use, because if they're too complicated, no one's actually going to do them. And so I went out and I said, okay, well, what would I like that would make my life a lot easier? And I found this system called Xtiles. By the way, it's free. I had a training on it today, and they've given us a unique code, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to share the code with you, with all of you. Now, if you're going to use it just at the level I'm using it at, it's free. It is actually amazing. So just for the record, it is absolutely amazing what you can do here under the productivity. So where did I find it now? No, that's not it. Sorry, I'm still learning my way around here. But there's here all the habits are. Daily planner. So look at all these templates here. Okay, so look at this personal planning. Your personal schedule, daily planner, daily docket, weekly schedule, weekly planner, week at a glance, monthly planner, yearly planner, monthly calendar, perfect planner. And then you've got all of these things: productivity, personal life, education, marketing, design, brainstorming. I mean, it's like, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty new to this, but I was pretty impressed. Okay, so what I did is I went out and I created my goals. And if you look here, I like to, you could just call this outcome 1, outcome 2, outcome 3 if you want, but I like to make it. So for me, my first goal is a visionary leader. Okay, that's what I say to myself every morning when I do my habits. What is a visionary leader? I am a visionary in our business empire with multiple owner-led businesses to enable everybody to invest like the top 1%. That's my outcome. Just like I did for all of you guys, that's my colorful outcome that is inspiring. What are my measures? I'm very clear on what my measures are. Okay, then my second one is my extraordinary relationship with myself. So again, mainly probably more for the ladies than for the men, but for a long time I've wanted an extraordinary relationship with a partner. And something I've learned over time is actually I have to build an extraordinary relationship with myself first, and then the partner will come. So the first thing for me is building an extraordinary relationship with myself, and it's all about secure attachment. Training is complete. And then the third one is living in my potential, and I'm living in my full potential at scale and adding more value to more people. So again, if you've heard me talk, I believe you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. So if you want to, create more things, you've got to figure out how to add more value to more people, which hopefully tonight we're adding value to you. And so I created this template. I didn't create this template. Well, I found the template and then I created it. So I then went and I said, right, well, if this is what I want to achieve, what do I need to do in the next 30 days? What's my focus? Okay, and I wrote it down. 60 days, 90 days. Then what are my goals? And again, you'll notice just 3 things. What are my top 3 goals? What are my top 3 priorities? What are my top 3 metrics for success? Top 3 goals, top 3 priorities, top 3 metrics. Top 3 goals, top 3 priorities, top 3 metrics. And funny enough, it's actually quite hard to do this on your own. So I did all this on my own. And then I have a coaching session coming up because I actually need my coach to, it's probably Alex could probably do this for me. You need an external person to ask you those questions like, hey, what about this? What about that? Because you get caught up forest in the trees, your stuff. But also, so I did it. But like you can see, I started to get stuck, particularly around 90 days. I was like, I don't know how to create an extraordinary relationship with myself. Like by 90 days, like I'm going to have it all figured out by then. So I'm joking. And then live in my potential, and this I didn't get anywhere. I was like, oh, I don't really know what to do. So, I'm no different to any other human. Like we all need help in terms of this process. But I found a tool because this lady was just having me fill it in on a piece of paper. And it wasn't even her piece of paper, it was my piece of paper, and it wasn't working for me because like then I meet her in a month's time, I've got nowhere to go back and check. And so I've gone quite far to printing everything out. So here's my challenge for the Olympics. Then what I've done under my extraordinary self and my own relationship is like, so I'm doing all this work at the moment. Like, what are my personal needs, my daily stuff. So I've printed this all out. I've printed, so these templates, like check how cool this is. You can literally share this. I can't remember if it's here. Export to PDF. And you can literally PDF this. And voila, you can print it. How pretty awesome is that? Okay. So I'm just showing you the tool. Okay, tonight's not like obviously a one-to-one coaching because it's impossible. And then what I did, so I sat down and I was like, well, hang on, like you guys don't want to use my template. So I went and just created your template. And I said, well, if you're wanting to do it, like using the methodology we've all been taught, so each one of you has an outcome. You've got outcome 1, you've got outcome 2, and you've got outcome 3. If you're not sure of it, go back and look at your, oops, sorry, wrong one. If you're not sure of it, go back and look at your golden goal. And if you're not sure of that, go back and look at your PDF that I originally sent you in terms of that process. The next thing, go and write down what is your measure. So you've got your golden goal. So I would come up with a cool name here, but if you want to be boring, leave it as outcome 1, 2, and 3. I think we get inspired by the stuff that we do. And then write down what your golden goal is. So again, just use me as an example if you want to. So it's, like I'm a visionary leader, but what does a visionary leader mean? Okay. Now to me, a visionary leader, sorry, I know I'm bouncing. Let me maybe open this twice. I'll open it twice so I can tab between the two. Okay, so let's just go here. Let's just do the template on this one. And then on this one, we'll do my one so you can use me as an example. I'm your guinea pig. Okay, so if we go back to this outcome, you'll see here that you've got your goal, your measure, and then you just got your focuses and you can just list them. Now you can do this yourself. I've given you the tool. There's no reason why you can't do it. I struggled to do it myself. I'm not going to lie. But then, you literally go here and you can see mine, like, so visionary leader. And then what is it? I'm a visionary leader in our business empire with multiple owner-led businesses to enable everybody to invest like the top 1%. That's our purpose. That's why I'm on this planet. And then what are the milestones? Like here they are. Now remember, these aren't the milestones over the next 30, 60, or 90 days. These are the milestones maybe over the next year. In my case, this is over the next year that I want to achieve this. And then obviously this kind of gives me the guiding North Star. And then based on the fact I want to achieve this, right, what do I need to do in the next 30 days? What do I need to do in the next 60 days? What do I need to do in the next, in basically in month 1, month 2, month 3. And in my world, I'm going to just review this 30 days, 60 days, 90 days every quarter and any good business, any person that's ever run a good business or invest in a good business will know that it does quarterly planning. So this doesn't change. Like I'll change this annually. And then every quarter I just go in and check on this. And then, every week or every month at minimum, I should just be checking like, right, I said I would do this. Have I done this? Have I done this? Have I done this? And then it's the same for the next one. So is this making sense to you? I can see Patricia said, wow, this is awesome. Like, I don't know about the rest of you, but I find this, firstly, it's free. Okay. I find it extremely easy to use. Again, I will literally give you this template. I want to use their affiliate code. And the reason being is that the guy said if they do start charging or if you end up having a certain number of projects, and I can't remember how many, I think it was 5, then they do start charging. And he said if we all come in as one group, then we'll get discounts. So I suggest we all use the link he sent me this afternoon. As you can see, I have no idea what else is in here with all the productivity tools, but I've been pretty impressed by it. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. Any questions? Any thoughts? Back to that presentation, you've got the daily habits, obviously, to then make that and to turn that into a reality. Just Alex, in terms of the coaching you're doing and stuff, can you see the power now in having this template when someone's been guided through the process? And I'll take you, the next slide I want to do is talk about, how we've been taught to run a process. But can you see how powerful, in my opinion, this tool is to keep it simple, to keep it visual? I mean, literally anyone that can log into a web page can fill this thing in. Derek, I joke, the Google Sheet has confused everyone. Okay, cool. I'm sorry. I found something that's even easier. I literally don't know what more to do to make it easier for people.
Yeah, well, as you were sharing that, I mean, you've shared it with me a couple of times, but now it's kind of really landed. I was like, man, I'm actually going to share this with the rest of the coaching group, because it's like, so basically one of the things that we have to do is I coach one of the other coaches, and then she coaches me, and then I have to share my notes with her, and she shares her notes with me. And so far it's been like emails and then WhatsApp, and then I don't use email, and then she doesn't use WhatsApp. And so, yeah, I think you're onto something here, Scott, because it is like, I use the tablet thing. She uses pieces of paper. So she's taking pictures. Yeah. So yeah, it is actually just too much. So using a simple thing like this could be the answer.
Cool. And I can see Patricia has said you got given us lots of food for thought. Archie said you're a ninja, and Derek said, I need to get this done. So, and again, I literally am using, I don't think I'm the ninja, Archie, I think I'm the guinea pig, because what I realized was that, I don't know a person on the planet that's done more goal planning than me. Like, if you take the Life Book and Tony Robbins and the spreadsheets and the future visions and everything, I literally am not aware of a person, but I'm not saying it's all worked for me. And so what I've done is I've just tightened it up, this rule of 3. I've helped, every single person go through the mastermind, myself, in terms of the outcomes. I've watched what works, what doesn't work. And what I tried to do in putting this presentation together, which gave me a huge amount of clarity as well, is at a transactional level, there's 3 steps. At a transformational level, there's also 3 steps. And it's the final thing I wanted to share with you, because what we've been trained in and what Alex and I have been trained in is actually where you can take an individual. So it's very hard to do this at a group level if you're doing it transformational, because remember, transactional is, hey, Alex, you said you would do this. Have you done it? Yes or no? And then we can help him make, forward movement to getting the result. But at a transformational level, it's, Alex, talk to me about that time management problem and what is holding you back, and what are some of the reasons, and is that really a story, or is that a pattern in your life that you're using elsewhere in life, etc. I could give an example of a proper coaching session, but everything that we work from, it's a combination of science, where you follow a formula, and then art, which is where you use your human instinct. And so from a transformational perspective, I've actually just because I have a physical book, so does Alex, and so I just scanned it for people. But the process that we take people through in a transformational level is 12 steps, okay? And my recommendation would be do it once a month, and you do it over a year. So the first session is all about setting up, establishing the coaching relationship, setting the goals. So each and every one of you have already done that, because each and every one of you, I've followed that process to help you get very clear on your top 3 outcomes. Your second session is taking stock. So it's reviewing the actions, and you can see there, coaching for insight. This is, again, it's from the coach's perspective. I'm being 100% transparent with you. Session 3 is articulating the vision. So getting very clear on what is the big picture. Session 4 is keeping exploring. So it's reviewing the articulated vision and the action items. Section 5 is energizing action. Keep reviewing and exploring the action items. Section 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, you can see it's reviewing and energizing, coaching for insight, what's working, what's not, setting new actions. You can basically see here, if you're reading, like if you go 5 here, you've got reviewing actions, coaching for insight, setting new actions. So it's this, you've actually got someone holding your hand. And the way I would see this working is that I would actually be using this template. So someone will be talking, I'll be asking questions, but at the end of every session, we would be very clear on these things. What is this focus? What is the goal? What is the priorities? What is the measure? And, each month we should really, the 30 days, the 60 days, the 30 days we should be reviewing, the 60 days should be becoming the 30 days, the 90, like it should be logical if you think about it. Each column should be moving across like this. And ultimately we should be reviewing this ultimate goal in terms of, and then finally at the end, review action, review series, coach for meta insights, acknowledgement, and close. So this is the overall process. At a transactional level, we're already offering this as a mastermind level. We're already doing it for you in terms of everything that we already offered, like I showed you. At a transformational level, I can only do this one-to-one. And so it's just something that we've realized that it's something that we need to offer if people want it. I'm not saying people do, but if they want it, then it's there. And so what we've basically done is to try and make this simpler and clearer for people going forward. You're already all part of the mastermind, but for people going forward, is that the 6K Club is the transactional coaching and the accountability, like I've already explained to you. And I really wanted you to have complete clarity as to how it works. The 12K Club will be the transformational coaching, which will have everything that the 6K Club has, and it'll have that 12-month series working with me directly. And with time, once Alex is qualified, it'll also be working with Alex in terms of that process. And then the 24 is where people actually don't want to do this. They just want someone to do it all for them in terms of that process. So I'm just giving you an example. And just for people that might be interested, if you are interested, I'm literally going to do this. I want to get started. I want to see, there's already one lady that's signed up for it. So there's basically 4 other slots that I'll be starting. So the month of August, I want to start. So if you are interested, my strong recommendation, just reach out to Alex. We're also going to, for people that are part of the mastermind, we're going to give a significant discount off, what it would cost someone new joining. And I'm going to walk a journey with 5 people and take them one-to-one on a trial. Everyone else is still getting everything that we already got as part of the mastermind. And between Alex and I, we'll only continue to improve. We'll give you the tools, and we'll keep trying to do our best to help people get results. But at a one-to-one level, we want to offer this. And if you want to reach out to Alex, and he can talk through it in more detail in terms of the process. And from my perspective, I just want to say thank you. I hope that that's made sense. I hope my vulnerable story is also shared with you a little bit, because what I realized was that the very blockages I was experiencing, I was finding other people were experiencing. And so I kind of used myself as the guinea pig, and I went out and said, okay, right. I went and got a coach who's trained in exactly the same methodology we coached in, so that I could see what it's like on the other side of the fence. I noticed where her gaps were, and I know that sounds terrible, but then I plugged those gaps so that we can solve it for you. And whether you want to stay just at the 6K Club and be part of the group coaching, the transactional coaching and accountability that we've already all got in place, that's perfect. And we'll keep improving that. And if you want to do the transformational thing, then it's something that I've been working on and evolving to make sure that I've got it. And in simple terms, I just want to be able to have people walk into the restaurant. You might or might not have seen where I'm going with this, the rule of 3, and say, hey, your choice. What do you want on the menu? So you'll notice there's not 4, there's not 6, there's not 7. It's the rule of 3 all over again. And it's something that we're working on a lot. I was on a call yesterday with Bianca. I know Bianca and Alex and Karen have been doing a lot of work on this as well. So we're always looking at how to tighten this up, because at the end of the day, you trusted us to help you get results. And quite frankly, I'm the sort of guy who's going to die trying. So we're going to keep trying, endeavoring to do whatever we can to help people get results. And particularly for people who are here like tonight, the people showing up, however many there are of us, 14 of us showing up, you're the ones that I want to help more than anyone. It's the people who are not showing up that are whinging that actually just piss me off personally. So sorry, but they really do. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I want to do whatever it takes to help people get results. But obviously, it's a two-way dance. So I hope this helped. I'm going to share all the resources. Shane is super tired. We're in the middle of the challenge, and so he wasn't able to join us tonight. But I'll make sure I put it in the WhatsApp group. I'm going to make life easy for you, but I do all remind you that. Hang on, I got to find it for you now quickly. Where the hell's it gone? I'm going to give you one quick reminder that Shane has built us our very own community for Private Wealth Global. And I do encourage you all to start using it properly. So I'm going to put all of the tools in here. And what I'll do is I'll create an extra group. So the nice thing now is we can create general discussion, we can create exponential, we can create, you know, etc. I know we've got 18 membership requests pending, so we're about to open it. I'll speak to Shane as to when we'll open it. Again, I'll remind you, I'll put it in the WhatsApp group, but I'm also going to put it in here so that in 3 months' time, I promise you won't be able to find it in the WhatsApp group, but you'll be able to find it in here, and we can all engage and add as much value to each other in terms of this process. So I do think that this collaborative community is going to be super exciting. We won't have all the noise of WhatsApp. We'll be able to go to things, you know, if you don't want to be a part of the crypto group, don't join it, you know. But it's like WhatsApp on steroids in terms of the process. Okay, Alex, closing thoughts from you. I see there's a bunch of comments. I just want to read them and see if there's anything I missed out or any questions or anything I can help with. I hope that tonight I've done my best to. I've never been able to personally share goals in my opinion in such a concise way. And if it's not concise to others, then I still need work, which I need feedback on. But in my own head, it's black and white now. Like I'm super chuffed on how simple it is for myself and hopefully for others.
No, Scott, I think there was a couple of times I wanted to interject and say something, but then you were on such a roll. I thought, no, hang on. He's actually articulating it quite simply and quite well. So no, I think you went perfect. Like I don't think you could have done any better in terms of the way that we've now taken so much information and put it into such simple and measurable and achievable things and tools. We still have a long way to go, but I think we're getting close to perfection now. And I think the only thing that I'd like to add to this whole conversation about coaching transactional versus transformational is focusing on really simple things. You spoke about the three things. In our class today, we spoke about the stakes model and also going through setting up, taking stock, articulating vision, energizing action, and closing strongly. And that's what it all comes down to, is just keeping to the plan. What were your outcomes in the beginning of the call? How do we make sure that we go through this entire process and get to those outcomes? And as Scott has shared with us this evening, there is a couple of simple ways that we can get there quicker and faster and safer. So Scott, it was a pleasure. And it was nice sharing your screen, and thank you for all the insights.
I just want to share one last thing. And I was actually just writing it up for you, but you probably all heard it before. But simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And it's something that I really enjoy. And it's interesting because Archie made a comment and so did Patricia. You know, again, back to my point, and I'm not trying to be arrogant. I truly believe that I'm yet to meet someone that's put in as much time and effort into goals. And now that I understand the Enneagram being an 8-3-7, remember 7's also big picture. So I'm like, kick doors down with an 8, make shit happen with a 3, and dream big with a 7. Like you pretty much don't get a more terrifying thing with focused on getting stuff done. But I wanted to finish with this saying here: simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And why I say that is because, Archie said, it's so confusing. You go out, you got life book, you got future vision, you got values, you got goals. They're all in different formats and all over the place. And I completely agree with you. You add to that, Tony Robbins from 20 something years ago, and he's got a book and it's handwritten in a book somewhere, and it's all over the place. And I've spent my whole life, like literally the last 30 years, trying to like figure it all out and put it in my own spreadsheets and bring it together. And I honestly believe because of this mastermind, and it's one of the reasons I'm so grateful, and I use it because of the mastermind, it's forced me to go, okay, right, all of this stuff, now let's put it into a concise path to make it easy for you guys. So, it's that classic example of by helping you, I'm helping myself as well. And same to you, Patricia, where you said, what did you say there? It makes me see how much I need to still learn, and it's great. You're so inspiring. For me, it's like what we're trying to do is we're trying to take all of this complexity and make it simple, because the ultimate outcome is the result. That has not changed. But what I'm realizing is me and everyone else is running around trying to do 50,000 other things. And as Chet Holmes said to me, many, many years ago when he trained me one-to-one, and by the way, Chet Holmes has doubled the sales in 50 of the Fortune 500 companies. 50. If you've done it once in my company, it's quite impressive. But if you've done it one time in a Fortune 500 company, that's impressive. If you've done it 50 times, that's incredible. And he said, the problem in business is that people are trying to do 4,000 different things. And there's only 12 important things you need to do in business, and you need to do them 4,000 different times. And for me, I take 12 and I actually make it 3. And I say, how do we take all of this complexity and make it simple and ultimately get those results? So that's the overarching message for the evening. So anyway, thanks everyone for your time. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love your feedback, positive or negative. Send me a voice note, send me a one-to-one. It's obviously the first time I've ever conceptualized it like I have for you tonight. I hope I've made it easier for you to figure out how to get your goals done, and whether you want to continue just doing it at the mastermind level, or you want to work one-to-one with me, or you want to, work on the, using that template on your own. I don't mind. I just want to make sure that the options are there. No matter what, we want to help you get results. Have a wonderful evening. And I don't know when we'll see you next. Is it next week or the week after? I'm not sure. Anyway, and for those of you coming to the weekend, I look forward to it, because we're going to take this to a whole nother level. Cool. Cheers, everyone. Have a good night. Bye then.
Bye-bye.